Let me take you through this and putting something together based on a project I've just done with a particular client. So first thing I did, I wrote a list of everything that we did, from organising, running and hosting their online intro webinars, hosting and running paid workshops for them, plus evergreens, creation of promotion material, video assets, YouTube videos, workshop slides. So I thought, rather than just a list, which is fine, I will share the list as well, I thought, why not put it into a graphic, bring it to life in a different way? So I'm going to take you through what I've got here on the screen, and I'll share the list somewhere around this video as well, in the comments, text, etc. But sort of try to then batch it rather than just having a great big long list, because there are, gosh, what's that, 20, nearly 30 things on the list. So in no particular order, one of the things was mindset coaching and therapy. So clarity coaching, generating ideas, and actually generating ideas isn't even really the right term, because oftentimes the issue and challenge isn't the lack of ideas, it's having so many or not knowing what to do with them, how to get them into some semblance of order. So there was that piece. There was then expert guidance based on I've been a coach and therapist for 25 years at the time of putting this video together. And I've been in the conference industry for, 35 years now. So conferences, workshops. I was also a conference producer before I got into personal development. Part of it was helping people build confidence and resilience in themselves, in their ideas, and actually to go through this process, because one of the clients had a bit of a wobble the day before we were due to run the workshop, and it was like, okay, let's talk. And of course, they ran it brilliantly the next day. So some of it is about flipping those negative thoughts, bit of reframing with the coaching side. And there might be times where we get more therapeutic about it, and actually go in and break those negative cycles if they are really coming in, causing a problem and sabotaging you. So that's the mindset bit. Next, let's look at the production services. And I'd say some of this is optional, maybe all of it is optional, because not everyone will need or require that. But what I did in this particular instance was I set up landing pages and sales pages. So landing pages for webinars, sales pages for workshops, paid workshops, mapping our ideas and the format for how to actually design and run the webinar, and what to include, how to structure it, etc. Suggestions with regards to do that, and in some instances doing it. For this, creating webinar slides, video assets, I did promo materials, kind of graphics, posters, all that sort of stuff. Organising, running and hosting the webinar for them, because technology, particularly if you're just starting out and you're just bringing your ideas, your workshops to life, the last thing you want is all the added aggro and benefits of, oh my God, the technology. So I organised the webinar, I ran the webinar, I hosted the webinar, I ran all the technology in the background, also did the writing of sales copy, because when it's your stuff, although you know it very well, it can sometimes be challenging, again, to put that into words and in a way that somebody who isn't steeped in that would get it. So I would write things, then send it to the client and say, here it is, you make the changes, adjust it, put yourself into it, etc. But by then, of course, talking to them, working with them, coaching them, knew them very well, so could do the large majority of that. And a lot of the times they just went, Marilyn, that's great, go with it. So didn't make any changes at all. Down here, if we go bottom my left, as we look at the screen, the business side of things, so the sales and the marketing. List building, a new client introduction, because in this particular instance I introduced them to my mailing list, so a lot of clients joined their mailing list and became clients of theirs. Closing sales and income generation, that's quite nice when that does happen. It's not going to happen every single time, because what you're doing may not be a good fit for my particular client base, but in this instance it was. So running, designing, hosting the webinars and workshops for them actually then brought in income, which would offset the investment in doing this in the first place. There was facilitating new product launches, bringing new things to market. They'd never actually brought these things to market before, so this was the first time they were doing it. So they've now got that under their belt and got all the assets for that as well to take forwards. And also providing ideas for future products, because one of the things I'm known for is my questions and my ideas. And so in terms of looking at what they were doing, working with them, going, well, actually, it'd be really brilliant if you do this and do that, and what about this, what about that? So we may see some of those ideas come to fruition in the future. Watch this space. And then in terms of additional benefits, if I was going to, sum that up, I would definitely say instant knowledge transfer in terms of tapping into that 35 plus years. I'm sure there's stuff that comes into it that predates my working life, but tapping into that 35 years worth of experience, so you don't have to go through the whole loop and learn all this stuff for yourself. I'll just bring forth the pieces that are relevant for you, and then you can implement them, and off you go. So there was that whole piece about action, accountability, and real-time implementation. Talk is cheap. Great, yes, we can talk till the cows come home. However, if you're in a position saying, I want to bring this to the world, I've got a workshop, I've got a webinar, I've got a training course, whether that's online or in person, talking about it is one thing. Actually getting down to business, putting pen to paper, fingers to keyboard, switching on that camera, pressing play, action and go, that's where the rubber hits the road. And that's the bit where many people fall down, where they'll spend loads of time planning and thinking about it and trying to come up with all the nuances and permutations, but actually they don't get the material out into the world. There's also, if people are going for the production services side, no worries about mastering the software or the technology. So they didn't have to learn the technology for the sales page, didn't have to learn the technology for the webinar landing page, didn't have to learn the technology for the running of the webinars. Now that is something we are going to do behind the scenes, because they're like, okay, great, I want to know how to do that now. So that's part of it. I'll show them how to do it. And with regards to some of the tech, I've done walkthrough videos, etc., or given a breakdown of what I've done. But in terms of just focusing on bringing the idea to the world, they didn't have to sit and think about all that side of things. And then it's real outputs. Run your first event or run your next event with ease. And from my perspective, one of the things I would say I'm also really good at is listening to people talk and then going, and then like within 10-15 minutes, bosh, mapped out the whole thing. It's like, there you go. And I did it for one client, and that's actually what they went with, and it was amazing. Now, it wasn't my material. I was just listening to them talk, and as they were talking, I was just writing things down and mapping things out. So by the time they finished talking, which took about 5 or 10 minutes at that, I was like, okay, listen to this then. How about bang, 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 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. And then from there, that's when I then went away and came up with the graphics, the pictures, the diagrams, the posters, all the rest of it. But for them, it was just like, okay, tell me about this. What do you do? How do you do it? Go. And then I can be taking all of that information, disseminating and mapping it and putting it all together in a format that people can, that they can use, that they can take forwards. And with this particular client, they sent me an email quite early into the process saying, hey, Marilyn, I've been thinking about it. I'm not going to need your services anymore because I feel confident enough to do it for myself. And that is amazing. So if you want any further details, my main website, I'll say it and I'll spell it, is transformationstm.com. So TRANCE, F for Freddy, so FORMATIONS, TM, as in trademark.com. So transformationstm.com. My email is Marilyn, MARILYN for November, at transformationstm.com. And on social media, all the usual channels, except for LinkedIn, who shut down my account for reasons unknown about a year and a half ago. It's / or at Marilyn Devonish, DEV for Victor, ONISH. So if you're looking for some moral support, some practical support, some hands-on support, and you want to just take everything you know, all of that wonderful knowledge, wisdom inside of you, and actually create something, a webinar, a workshop, a workbook, videos, whatever it might be, ping me a message, let's talk. Wishing you all a fabulous rest of your morning, afternoon and evening. And if you know someone who you think, yep, that's them, they got all these ideas, they haven't yet brought them into the world, please feel free to give them my details and I'd be more than happy to have a chat about the workshop design and launch services packages. Marilyn Devonish, the Neuro Success Coach, Rapid Transformation Specialist, and Futurist from transformationstm.com. Over and out. Catch you later, and I maybe look forward to working with you and helping you host and run your next event or workshop.